African Young Dreamers Empowerment Program, in partnership with College Success Foundation, will support students who are having problems filling out their FAFSA or WASFA applications through this presentation. In this video, we will explain the difference between FAFSA and WASFA, discuss eligibility criteria, and outline what is needed before filling out the application.
After assessing the difficulties that African immigrants face when filling out the FAFSA and WAFSA forms, due to their inability to navigate the complexity of the forms and understand what is needed to obtain resources, we decided to step in. Our mission is to provide a simple and thorough presentation on FAFSA and WAFSA and how to best prepare before filling them out. The free application for federal student aid, also known as the FAFSA form, is an application for federal student aid. You need to complete the FAFSA form to apply for federal student aid such as federal grants, work-study funds, and loans. Completing and submitting the FAFSA form is free and easier than ever, and it gives you access to federal student aid, the largest source of aid, to help you pay for college or career and trade school.
The Washington application for state financial aid, or WASFA, is for people who don't file for federal FAFSA application. If you have completed FAFSA, you have already applied for federal and state financial aid and do not need to complete WASFA unless your college asks you to.
To be eligible to fill out the FAFSA form, one needs to be either a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, have a valid social security number, be enrolled or accepted into an eligible degree or certificate program, complete a high school diploma or its equivalent, such as a general educational development certificate or an approved homeschooling program. Remember, the basic eligibility criteria that allow you to get federal student aid continues to apply throughout the time you're receiving aid, not just when you first fill out the FAFSA form and receive aid. Demonstrate financial need for need-based federal student aid programs. Provide consent and approval to have your federal tax information transferred directly into your 2024 to 2025 FAFSA form if you're applying for aid for July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Sign the certificate statement on the FAFSA form stating that you're not in default on a federal student loan, you do not owe money on a federal student grant, and you'll only use federal student aid for educational purposes.
As for WASFA, a person should complete the WASFA if they are undocumented or do not qualify for federal financial aid because of their immigration status. The WASFA can also be used in limited circumstances by other select applicants who cannot or choose not to file for FAFSA. People who complete a WASFA are applying only for state aid. If you are eligible for federal aid, you should complete the FAFSA in order to maximize financial aid awards.
Before filling out your FAFSA form, you will need to create your studentaid.gov account. When you create your account, be careful to enter your name and social security number exactly as they appear on your social security card. Parents or guardians also need to create an account. If your parent or guardian does not have a social security number, please enter all zeros in the space you will be given. When you fill out the FAFSA form, you will answer questions that will determine who needs to be a contributor on your form. However, you may be able to identify your contributors now to get a head start on collecting the information you will need to invite them to your form. Beginning on the 2024 to 2025 FAFSA form, you and your contributors must provide consent and approval to have your federal tax information transferred directly from the IRS into your FAFSA form. Providing consent and approval is mandatory, even if you or your contributors do not have a social security number, did not file a tax return, or filed a tax return outside the United States. You and your contributor may need to answer FAFSA questions about untaxed income, such as child support and interest income. The FAFSA form will ask you and your contributors questions about your assets, so make sure you have records of your savings and checking account balances, as well as the value of any investments, such as stocks, bonds, and real estate, excluding your primary residence. Report the current amounts of your assets as of the date you signed the FAFSA form, rather than reporting the 2022 tax year amounts. Be sure to add any colleges, career schools, or trade schools you are considering, even if you have not applied or been accepted yet. You can list up to 20 schools on the online 2024 to 2025 FAFSA form.
If you have never filled out WASFA before, you will need to complete an eligibility questionnaire and create an account. If you have filled out WASFA before, you will need to log in as a returning user. When beginning the application, you will need to fill out the student's personal information, student demographic information, and student college or career school plans. Then, student circumstances section is used to determine whether you are an independent or dependent according to WASFA. You will then need to fill out the student circumstances section, which is used to determine whether you are an independent or dependent student according to WASFA. Then, fill out the student family information and student financial information. If you are a dependent student, then you will need to input your parents' tax information from 2 years prior. If you are an independent student, you will only need to input your tax information. If you did not file for your taxes, or if you or your parents' income is below the minimum amount to file taxes, you can choose the option will not file when you complete the WASFA. However, you will need to provide any W-2, 1099, or final pay stub received for that specific year. After completing the application, you will need to electronically sign it. If you provided your parents' information, you will need to request parent signature using the link provided after completing. The parents need to create a WASFA account and electronically sign it on their end.
For more information or application support, please feel free to email admin@idep.org, idepinfo@idep.org, programs@idep.org, or call 253-332-2146. As for FAFSA, you can also contact the Federal Student Aid Information Center, and they will answer your and your students' general questions about the federal student aid programs and application process.
As for WASFA, if you have any questions regarding your WASFA application, please contact the Student Financial Assistant at wasfa@wsac.wa.gov or call 888-535-0747 and choose option 2.
Thank you, and I hope this presentation provides sufficient support in filling out the 2024 to 2025 FAFSA/WASFA application.